With Julius Randle and Donte Divincenzo both struggling mightily on the Minnesota Timberwolves, the New York Knicks may have made the trade of the decade by trading these two away for Karl Anthony Towns, who looks like an all-star starter this season, and we have to break this all down. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as usual. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. 26.5% of viewers are subscribed. But let's jump into this. I'm aware that I said at first that this was a robbery and the Knicks made a terrible trade for Karl Anthony Towns. And I've said multiple times that I was incorrect and that it was just pure me being a huge fan of both those guys and really loving them as players. But it's undeniable right now that the New York Knicks made an absolutely phenomenal trade by trading away both Julius Randle and Donte Divincenzo, both of whom have struggled mightily in Minnesota. Now, Randle, it's similar to what happened in New York when people didn't like him. It's the same narrative. The problem is that team does not have spacing, and Julius Randle just does not fit on the Minnesota Timberwolves at all. I said this at the time. I stand by this. Randle does not fit on this team. He needs to play on a team that has more shooting and more off-ball guards, and right now, Minnesota is a team that's really based off an isolation wing in Anthony Edwards, so Julius Randle being there just does not make a ton of sense, especially when he's in a front court with Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert, and the Minnesota Timberwolves are paying for it, being 8-9 right now, and the same deal is happening with Donte Divincenzo. Minnesota Timberwolves fans cannot stand the way he's playing basketball. He's missing a lot of his threes. He's not playing good defense. He's being played out of position at the point guard slot, which is not working for Divincenzo whatsoever. And what we're seeing is Timberwolves fans very upset that Leon Rose and the New York Knicks may have absolutely fleeced them. Now, guys, again, I understand. I initially did not like the trade, but I turned around before the game started. I think that counts for something, because I know people are going to be like, well, you hated on it. Yes, I did. And then I quickly said, nah, I changed my mind. I think it's going to work. Just wanted to say that. But look, Donte Divincenzo, to talk about him, he has been struggling and was benched for the final 25 minutes of a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves the other night when they played the Houston Rockets. Literally the final 25 minutes. This was an overtime game. He was benched with 7 minutes left in the third quarter and did not see the court again. He finished the game with 3 points on 1 for 5 shooting from the field and 3 turnovers with a minus 15. Divincenzo just has not had it in Minnesota, whether it's that he's coming off the bench or having to play a lot of point guard. It's just not working out for him in Minnesota, and Timberwolves fans are not too happy with the production right now. But it's the same thing for Randle, who's not playing poorly. He's just not playing like Julius Randle, whereas Julius is averaging, you're looking at his averages, 22 points, 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 50% from the field, while Divincenzo's putting up under 10 points with 4 rebounds and 3 assists while shooting 35% from the field. And Karl Anthony Towns is having a phenomenal series, but we'll talk about these stats more in a bit. But fans are just not happy with what they're seeing from either player. I mean, Minnesota Timberwolves fans are saying Donte Divincenzo was absolutely ass. Please get this bum off the Timberwolves. This is literally no different. There's literally no difference between me and Donte Divincenzo right now. Both Italian dudes that can't hit a jump shot. And Donte Divincenzo shooting 9 threes a game and making 40% of them is proof of the power of friendship that the New York Knicks had. I mean, look, Divincenzo has not been great. There's no doubt about it. But it's not just Divincenzo who's been underwhelming. It's also been Julius Randle. And fans have really not been thrilled about what's going on with Julius Randle and all this. People are calling him worthless, which, again, people just are not understanding the way that these guys do not fit on the team. Like, Chris Finch is not putting Divincenzo in position to succeed, and, well, Divincenzo should be playing better. Julius Randle does not fit on this team. I'm not sure why Timberwolves fans were surprised or what they expected. Randle's biggest weakness is that his jump shot is really inconsistent. Someone else saying that he has terrible basketball IQ and that they're going to boycott the Timberwolves until they trade or bench Julius Randle, and people are asking for him to not be re-signed after his free agency is up. As you can see on the screen, they're 8-9. Look, the Timberwolves are just not very good this season. The trade they made was an absolute blunder, and they did it to save money, and now it looks like that was a massive error by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Chris Finch even spoke that he's kind of disappointed in the play of Julius Randle specifically here, saying, I think on the ball he's been good. Off the ball, he's been kind of inconsistent like everything else that we do right now. His rebounding numbers have been down. Like, you know, both he and us are kind of wondering why that's the case. That is not a good look to say, oh, well, his rebounding numbers are down. Why is that the case? Well, one of the answers is Rudy Gobert is a really good rebounder. We've seen Karl Anthony Towns' rebound numbers jump up since coming to the Knicks. But also, Julius does not fit on this team. And what we're seeing now is Julius Randle struggling to find his footing on a team he does not fit on whatsoever. And it's causing a lot of problems for the Minnesota Timberwolves, not for the New York Knicks. The Knicks don't have those problems. Look, I still love Julius and Donte. I don't want people to think I'm hating on him, but they're objectively not playing well this season. I mean, Randle putting up 22 and 6 and 4 is not bad at all, but like the numbers are not bad. They're really not. He just doesn't fit on this team, and we know that he's a better player than this, but he's shooting efficiently, and I mean, not from the corner, but he's not there to hit corner threes. He should be shooting less than 31% of his shots from three. The problem is the Timberwolves have such little spacing. He's getting forced out there, which is causing more problems for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and frankly, it doesn't get any better with Divincenzo, who's shooting 23% on corner threes. He shot 40% on them last season, averaging 9 points per game this season. He averaged 15.5 last season. Still 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Same thing that he did for the New York Knicks. And then on top of that, you're also seeing 1.5 steals per game, similar to the Knicks. I cannot speak right now. Then 35% from the field with the Timberwolves. He shot around 40 with the Knicks. And then 32% from three, where he shot 40.1% on the New York Knicks. Donte Divincenzo is struggling to find his footing as a shooter on this team right now, and maybe because there's less shooting on the Timberwolves than there was on last year's Knicks, and last year's Knicks had a lot more spacing, so there could be less of a focus on Divincenzo. Maybe he's not happy with the times that he's coming off the bench. Maybe he's not happy playing a point guard position that he doesn't belong in. He's a 2 guard. He can play a bit of undersized small forward because he plays bigger than his size. Donte Divincenzo and Julius Randle are both great players who are being horribly misutilized by the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's led to them putting up bad numbers and fans being very unhappy. Now, just to take a look at Karl Anthony Towns' numbers, because why not? He's putting up 26 and 12.5. He's also getting 3 assists. He's shooting 55% from the field and 47% from 3. Karl Anthony Towns has been absolutely lights out for the New York Knicks this season, is a surefire all-star starter if these numbers keep up, will be in the MVP conversation. He looks like the best player on the Knicks right now. Karl Anthony Towns has been absolutely phenomenal for the New York Knicks. It's worked out in every single way, while the Minnesota Timberwolves, this trade has failed in every single way. And now it's a team banking on their defense to hold on to things, while Timberwolves fans are obviously not too thrilled with the defense that Julius Randle has been playing for them. Now, on top of that, Divincenzo's turnovers are back up. His turnover percentage was 9.7% on the Knicks. Mind you, the prior 2 years, 16%, and then this year, 16%, and slightly higher than ever before. Here's the thing. Stop playing him at point guard, Chris Finch. That's probably going to help. But it's also just the way that Tom Thibodeau coached. It meshed well with Divincenzo. These guys were coached well. They were put in position to succeed. And right now, neither of them are. And we're seeing that, look, I think Divincenzo can easily bounce back, whether it's on the Minnesota Timberwolves or whether they do actually trade him. And wherever they trade him, he'll probably bounce back. I think he's a phenomenal player. I think the same thing for Julius Randle. If he gets put on a team where he fits, he'll probably bounce back and play really well. I mean, he's not even playing poorly now statistically. It's just Timberwolves fans don't like what they're seeing. They really, really hate more than anything the way that Donte Divincenzo's been performing this season. And look, frankly, there's no way to say Divincenzo's been putting up good numbers. He hasn't. He's struggled mightily from inside the arc, from outside the arc, from literally everywhere. He's struggled on defense. And this could be mental. It could be so many things. He got thrown into this situation, and it's just not working out for him whatsoever. And now we're seeing the Minnesota Timberwolves trying to figure out where they go from here. It's an 8-9 team that went all in on contending. They gave all their picks for Rudy Gobert. They have Anthony Edwards right now who's playing out of his mind. Yet somehow, some way, no one else can really pick up the slack. Jaden McDaniels has been underwhelming for them. It's just been an underwhelming show out for these guys. And what we're seeing is a Minnesota Timberwolves team that just frankly looks lost out there. I mean, look at all these shots that Divincenzo hit on the New York Knicks that he's not hitting here. We are seeing a Timberwolves team that made a terrible mistake by trading Karl Anthony Towns, and we're seeing a New York Knicks team that made a great trade in the process. Right now, this is the best trade of the decade. Of the 2020s, this is the most successful trade. I know it's early on. I know it's a complete 180 from what I initially said about this trade. But what are you going to do? Sue me that I happen to initially be wrong on the trade? Yeah, I was. I thought it was a bad idea. I also have thought a lot of things that weren't correct. So have you. Yeah, you watching it. I know you've thought wrong things. Don't act like I'm the only person to get things wrong here. But it's all right. I love all the subscribers and all the viewers. So, guys, make sure you like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.